institutions played a really huge role because we just knew we had the idea that we wanted to pioneer, but we didn't know logistically what does that look like, where, what are the needs, and so on.
Being very clear and knowing who to go to in terms of assistance, and I think in Brisbane we're very fortunate to have a very supportive local spiritual assembly, and most of the people on board are very clear in terms of what the guidelines of the plans are, so knowing what kind of process to take and what kind of priorities there are within Brisbane / within Queensland in general as well.
The role of the institutions throughout all of this has been, I guess, really strong from the beginning. When we first decided to pioneer, we were lucky to have a good friend of ours who serves on an international pioneering committee, and from the very beginning he's been with us all along, helping us communicate with the councillors, with the auxiliary board members, both here in Australia and overseas, and they've, I guess, helped us prepare spiritually mainly, but also logistically for going over to Albania and for pioneering. And it's been, honestly, we have been able to get to this point without them.
Because this call was international, the National Assembly and the councils worked quite closely together. So at the beginning, just to, I guess, in terms of a play-by-play, like we said, okay, well, we're willing, and we sent an email out to the councillors, the National Assembly and the auxiliary board members. From that point then, it was, communication back and forth on these are the opportunities, figuring out some of the logistics, and then finalizing the support that we would need. The relationship has been both consultative and then really supportive and encouraging as well along the way.
I think at first it was quite a bit of a difficult journey, especially for myself, getting my parents on board with the idea of pioneering, especially going to an international post, because I think they were more familiar with the idea that it would just be, in rural Queensland, but the fact that it became Albania very quickly changed for them, and not being so close to them. Through conversations and with the institutions actually assisting and calling my parents and making sure that they were okay with it, things changed quite drastically for them as well, and they saw the need that the faith was at in terms of how much of an important role pioneering plays in a person's life, especially in this particular plan as well, where the House of Justice is calling for pioneers, especially international as well. So they've come around to it, and they're actually, on board and encouraging every kind of step that we take now in terms of financial support, in terms of, prayers and assistance in any way that they can.
Yeah, I think looking back, our parents made such an influence on our journey with taking us to movie books, different deepenings, making sure at a young age, transport was always provided, and making sure that we are encouraged to attend these different spaces. And we had to have a lot of deep conversations with our parents around it. And now I think they're at a point that they're more comfortable with it. But even now, there are still going to be tests with them. We know for sure, even when we're over there, making sure that we're in touch with them, FaceTiming them, all that different stuff is really important to make them feel loved, even though we're far away from them. Yeah.
The role of our families is, it's obviously one from being from a standpoint of just being fully supportive of the decision for us to go pioneering. I think we know that it would have been hard for them initially to sort of, I guess, accept the fact that we've only been married a year and we're deciding to go overseas for a couple of years. But I think the families, both our parents and our siblings as well, have been nothing but supportive and loving of this decision. And whether it's from my family lives overseas already, and Paris' family lives here in Brisbane, so that support looks different from either way. But I think nothing but, I guess, support and encouragement. And I guess it's really nice, really comforting for us to know that when we do leave, we have their sort of continued support and love and prayers as well.
Yeah, and I think, as Dan said, it's definitely, it's not easy for them. They'll miss us, particularly my family, because we live quite close and see them a lot. And for his family too, because it's easier to, fly to New Zealand than it is to Europe. But I think ultimately, beyond us, pioneering is a spiritual journey, and it impacts not only the individuals, but the families and, the communities. And so for them, I think they see this as part of their journey too, and not just ours. and they're wanting to contribute and support and be a part of that in any way that they can.